Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And once again, here for Jubilee Catalyst number 41, this time going into Normal Battle 2. This stage, really gonna suck, because there's just not a lot of good fire units to pull from, unfortunately. So, do what you can. They did make this stage artificially more difficult to hit damage cap because there are only 2 enemies this time instead of 3. And they're both at once. They're both moderately tanky, but because you're missing that third person to nuke, you have to really be very strong to still hit the damage cap, which I think was lowered by a couple 100,000, so it's not 1.4 million, it's like 1.35 or something around there, I don't know. But the damage cap is lower because there's another unit gone, but still, you've got to be strong enough to have an AoE nuker or a single targeter to do 1.4 million in 3 turns. So, good luck. Starting hand is a special convert to greens. If you can do that, then great. If not, you got to play with what you can. But disclaimer number 1, your results will vary. My teams are guides. Unless you can replicate it 1-to-1, your score is not going to match mine, especially if you're trying to get max, which I'm not even max. I'm 124 points off, which I don't give a shit about. Just use it as a basic guide, and then sub out some support units that you may or may not have. Disclaimer number 2 is that these are the units I use for protection gauge, and these are the units I use for skill point gain on turn 1 and subsequent turns. And then disclaimer number 3 is don't forget to go into your town and optimize your fire building, so your fire character can have the most damage possible. But with that said, let's jump in. Alright, so for Normal Battle 2, this is the team that can get max score as long as, again, you don't take any additional damage. New Year's Shion, New Year's Milim, Octogram Lumi, Vengeance Raphael for his turn 1 seal ability, New Year's Rimuru, very important, and then we're going to nuke with Commander Shizu. We don't have a lot of good AoE fire characters. If you don't have Commander Shizu, you can use Summer Lumi in place of her. It's just that she will not hit damage cap because her buff is vastly inferior, but she is an AoE physical character that'll get the guaranteed crit and synergy, so she is an option. But this is the team. We're running full skill point units in the first slot, and we're using a fire attack charm for Shion to give Shizu extra damage. We need to hit the 1.4 million, or 1.3.5 or something like that, and she can do it, even at level 100. You just need things to go correctly. Okay. So the reason we're starting with extra skill points is that we need to use Raphael's seal ability, because they give themselves guaranteed crit, or almost guaranteed crit, and almost guaranteed pierce. So we need to seal that skill. We also need to use 1 stack of the AoE buff on Shizu here, but then get her out. And we need Rimuru to take over slot 1, because we need 4 rainbow orbs for Rimuru. So we're going to send orbs against the 1, and here I forget to seal, which is the misplay. However, it doesn't really matter because even later on when I do use it, I still get pierced. Because while it seals their additional chance, they still have that natural ability to seal. So we get 5 orbs for Rimuru plus 1, that's plenty, that's enough to get the EX ult for Shizu. We're going to use the seal here, and you'll see that it didn't really make a difference because it's still going to pierce and I still would not have gotten max score. But we're going to spread the damage out, get them to roughly equal amounts, and then they're going to hit me right there, weak point, and then he pierced anyways. So even though I should have used the seal ability last turn, he still would have pierced anyways, so not a big deal. You just can't be pierced, and then you'd hit max score. So here, we've got enough points, we've got the EX ult, we've used both the Shizu buff and the Milim buff, we've got the extra fire charm on, we've got guaranteed crit, guaranteed synergy. We're going to lower their health a bit more with some Milim orbs, and then Shizu does 700,000 damage, which is enough to hit the cap. It's just, again, we got pierced technically twice, and even then it would have been once, and I still would not have hit cap. So we're 124 points off. Oh well, if you have this team, you can try and RNG your way up for an extra 124. I can't be bothered because that's not going to make a difference in my overall ranking. But this team can certainly do the 1.4 million damage, or whatever million damage cap that you need. Alright, the next option is people that nobody summoned for. Benimaru, Tempest Elite, and then Tempest Elite Rimuru. He is a single target nuker, so you are going for just one alt. He doesn't quite have enough oomph to get you to the damage cap, but he can do 1 million, so it's better than nothing. We again have New Year's Shion. We've got Lumi for the turn 1 orb change this time. Summer Hinata to steal guaranteed orbs for Rimuru. Benimaru's got the physical buff and alt resistance down, and then Shizu also has alt resistance down and the weakness strike. Rimuru himself gives himself an attack buff and alt damage. So he'll put numbers up, it's just that it's unfortunately not enough numbers. Alright. Also, something to note with this team is that I don't have enough points to do everything I want to, so we're gonna push to turn 4, which, is not ideal. So we're nerfing our turn score, and we're nerfing our, well, we're not nerfing, but we can't hit the damage cap. But still, we can get an okay score out of this. So sending 6, we're going to try and take out the Pierce enemy because he does the most damage to us guaranteed. You can defense your way through the crit like this, so 1 damage. But the Pierce, you can't, because it ignores part of our defense. So here, not great, because we don't have a full hand to steal, unfortunately. So I think that's why I originally push, and it also wouldn't have been a good hand for Shion. So Hinata's going to come in, we're going to steal some orbs here. Again, it's not perfect. If you were able to steal 6, I still don't know if you would have enough points to actually nuke properly. Because you need the 80 from Shizu, you need the 40 from Benimaru, so that's 120. And then you need Rimuru's buff, which is 25 points. So you don't have enough regardless. So it's okay to just push a turn. If you don't get the EX ult here, then try and get it on turn 3. And more importantly, get those extra 30 points from Shion. And then you will have enough to use all 3 of the buffs. We're going to spread the damage out. I don't know why I didn't just straight up kill this guy, even though I said I wanted to. Ignore that. And then, yeah, so 94 points, 124. We're still a nut tap away from Shion and Rimuru's ult, so we're just going to send these 2 orbs. We'll kill the Pierce guy, and then we'll take this hit. And now we have 154 points, which now means that we have enough to nuke with everything. So 1, 2, 3, attack, ult, weakness strike, physical attack up, alt resistance down, guaranteed crit, guaranteed synergy. Alright. And 1 million, 1.07 million damage. It is okay. It's not 1.35, but it's close. And we didn't take that much damage overall. So, it's not a bad team by any means. It can certainly get you a nice score. But, it assumes you pulled for Tempest Elite Rimuru, which I really hope not a lot of people did. Alright, now we're going to get into the sad teams. I'm sorry. Fire, AoE Nukers, Diamond a Dozen. Again, you can use New Year's Shion and Summer Lumi if you have them. If you have the new Lumi, right? The new Prosper Lumi, you can certainly use her as well. It's just that, again, I don't know many people do have that Lumi, so we're not going to attempt to use her here. So we've got Exalted Champion Velzard, we've got Veldora, and the Masked Hero. Both of them here means that we have a good orb change for turn 1 with Veldora. We've got Violet for the magic buff, we've got Autogram Lumi for the ult and AoE buff, and then Benimaru himself has a small attack buff as well. So, it's certainly not going to do 1.3 million damage, but it's an AoE fire unit. Alright, so because we have the hero and Veldora next to each other, we can use the orb change for Veldora efficiently. We'll bring Lumi in for the hero, that way we keep her in the back so we can steal 6 orbs for Benimaru. He doesn't need 6 orbs as long as you get, 4 or something. You can get his ult probably with the green buff active from Veldora. It's just that we're going to eliminate all of the RNG, or at least most of it. So here, we have a 2-2-2 spread. So, terrible, unlucky, but it is what it is. We'll swap out Veldora. We've used his buff. He's no longer really useful. We'll keep Lumi in so we could use her AoE buff if we need to, which we will. So we'll bring the hero in, we'll steal the orbs, we'll use Velzard now. That way we don't kill both of these soldiers with Benimaru. I don't know if he actually would, quite honestly, but I don't want to risk that chance. Now we'll put the AoE buff on, and with that we will definitely get his ult, because it gives us that extra 50% ult gauge increase on every orb. So yeah, we've got an EX ult for him right here. Great. So spreading the damage out. Guy on the left is almost dead. Hopefully we don't counterattack him. I've had that happen a couple times and it's been hugely irritating. And there's the Pierce, type disadvantage as well. 130 points. So magic buff, small time attack buff, and another stack of the AoE buff from Lumi. And then we'll get the element damage buff from Velzard. And we put up a number. Just a number. I don't want to send any other orbs, because I'm afraid I'll kill. He does 152. So certainly not what people are really looking for, but it is what it is. Alright, so while I was perusing the Twitterverse, or the Xverse, I came across this JP player, so shout out to, I don't know what that is, but FR50RPM7BW99433. So they've got a Konosuba Megumin and Protector Rimuru team with what I assume is Skill Fuse Space Rimuru. We've got 2nd Anniversary Hinata and some music. So yeah, Skill Fused Rimuru, Hinata buff, the ult buff, and the small magic buff from Megumin herself. And we're on turn 4, so not turn bonus. We've got the Masked Hero, and I assume that's how they got 4 stacks of Rimuru in this amount of time. But with the crit buff, they are able to nuke with Megumin for 1.37, which I think is the cap. So, I mean, this team can get it. It just you need 2 collab characters that have come out last year and never have come back. So, I mean, yeah, there's the max score. You took a little bit of damage. You're not at the max turn bonus, but you certainly did get pretty good score still overall. So, I mean, if you're able to use this team at all, then certainly give it a shot. So, thank you again to this JP player that I don't know your name. Alright, and the final team, bottom of the barrel, we've got Towa, Octogram Lumi, Summer Hinata, Space Yuki. He doesn't actually do a lot here. We got Fire Shizu, who is skill fused. If she's not, don't worry about it, just use her anyways. And then we're going to nuke with Physical Velzard. So, I mean, if you have New Year's Blessing Shion, you could just sub her in for Towa, it's fine. It'll accomplish the same thing. Velzard has her own personal 2-orb steal, so maybe you don't need this Summer Hinata if you don't have her. You can just run with this, and she's not an EX character, so she doesn't need 6 orange orbs to get an EX ult. She has a personal attack buff and a small ult buff for herself, so you combine that with a few stacks of Lumi, the fire buff with Shizu, and you can put up, again, a number. Alright, so turn 1, we don't have an orb changer. Not a super big deal. We're just going to run it. So we're just going to send 4 orbs here. We're not going to change anything except for swapping Hinata out. Which, again, if you don't have her, don't worry about it. You could bring another small buffer, maybe? Maybe? I don't really know. But here, we're taking damage, obviously. Not a big deal. We've got 3 orbs for both characters, so it doesn't really matter who you swap out for. I'm going to swap Shizu out, that way we can use a stack of Lumi here. We'll bring Hinata in, we'll steal the 3 orbs. Towa will give us 40 points if we need to use it, but we're not going to use it here, because we're going to get the ult for Velzard regardless, so we're just going to hold on to it. If you can somehow get the ult and double Towa, then that would help you use a few extra buffs on the nuke turn, and would help your damage out, but we didn't get so lucky here. They did hit her, which I guess is lucky, because it means less damage taken. But we have 109 points effectively to use here. So we're not going to have enough to use anything from Yuki, because he costs 25 for his ult resistance down, so not a big deal. We'll use the fire buff. Boom. It has the fire resistance down because it is skill fused. Again, if she's not, just use her anyway and just get the fire buff active. Or if you have the the 2nd Anniversary Hinata, you can use her instead, and she'll be cheaper. So we're going to use the AoE debuff from Shizu, and then the attack buff from... Okay, no, we're not. Never. We're going to go with Yuki's 25% ult resistance down instead. It should help us do a bit more damage here. But we're going to do some extra orbs just to lower their health down. I'm not really worried about killing them. And then 90k. So less than the Benimaru squad that we showed off the last clip, or 2 clips ago. But again, it's certainly a score. And if you just need a team to get a score, this can do it using a bunch of old units. So that's it for me for Normal Battle 2. If you have any other teams that you found have worked, please let me know in the comments so other people can look at that and see what they can use and if they have available. But take it easy, guys, and I'll see you all later.